What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. Today I'm going to show you how you make this awesome Ziggy Pop quilt. This quilt we use fabrics by Moda. The line is called Best Friends Forever. In the video we're going to be using an Americana line. Let's get started. So to get started, as you can tell in the quilt behind me, you only need 3 different prints. Today for the video I have selected a white, a light blue, and a red. And I've gone ahead and cut these down into 10-inch squares. Unfortunately for this project, we really can't use layer cakes just because it would turn into a really scrappy and you wouldn't get this look that we're going for today. And with this, since I have them all cut down into 10-inch squares, I've gone ahead and I've paired them to their groups. So I have a blue and a red together, I have a white and a red together, and a blue and a white together. Our next step is to put them right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way around this square. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to now do it to my other sets here as well. Now that I have my squares sewn all the way around, it's time to cut them. So I'm going to just take one, I'm going to set the rest aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut corner to corner. I'm going to line up my ruler, I'm going to just cut all the way across the diagonal. From here, I'm going to turn it and put my triangles back together and do it one more time, which will give me 4 equal parts, which will end up being half square triangles. Give me just 1 second to do that to the rest of my blocks and we'll be right back. So the next step, we should now have 3 different color half square triangles. A red and a blue, a red and a white and a blue. These 2 piles right here I've already gone ahead and squared up. These ones I'm going to show everyone how to square them up. I'm going to be using a block lock ruler, which is just a helpful tool to square up your half square triangles. You can use a normal ruler, I just prefer this method. I'm going to go ahead and clip it onto that seam for anyone that's familiar with block lock. And I'm going to square up this one side, the next side. Turn this around and do it to the other side to make sure everything's nice and square. I'm squaring these blocks down to 6.5 inches square. Now that I have all 3 of my half square triangle piles all squared up, I just like to mention that if you have a different way of making half square triangles or an easier way to do them, do it that way as long as you can achieve 3 different piles of half square triangles. Let's go on to the next step. So to get started on the construction of this block, something that I highly recommend is in the description below. We've left a PDF download on the construction of this block. Go ahead and download it, print it out, and keep it right next to you because this block can get a little confusing on how to put it together. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and construct this block. First, we're going to take a white and blue half square triangle and put it at the bottom left side. And we'll take another white and blue half square triangle and put it at the top right corner. After this, we'll take a red and blue and put it at the top left corner, a red and blue at the bottom right corner. From here, we're going to take a red and a white and put it in the bottom middle, and take a red and a white and put it at the top middle. After this, we're going to grab a red and a white again and put it in the right side middle, and one more red and white and put it in the left side middle. That right there is the Ziggy Pop block. Sorry it's a little bit confusing, but keep that paper right next to you and it'll be a breeze. We're going to now put right sides together and start assembling our rows. there's the first row of the block sewn. I'm just gonna sew the rest of them and we'll be right back. So now that we finished our first block, I've gone and pre-done the rest of the quilt, but I'm going to show you how we put our rows together. We're just going to take our first block, line it up with our second block, right sides together, and sew all the way down. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. Same thing, I'm just gonna make sure I'm lining up here and sew this side on. And there we got our first row. I'm gonna make all the other rows and we'll be right back. So I've just finished up sewing my rows. I'm sewing my last row together to the main body of the quilt. Like always, right sides together, lining up all of our points and edges and seams and all of that. I'm gonna stick a couple pins through these seams just to make sure I can get them in place real nicely. And I'm gonna pin all the way down. Now that we're all pinned, I'm going to take it over to our sewing machine and just sew a 1/4 inch all the way down. So I've just finished completing my quilt top and I absolutely love the way that this quilt has turned out. I'm going to take this across the building to our in-house long arm to have it finished. Something I wanted to point out is the reason why we call this the Ziggy Pop Quilt. As you can tell, once we put our blocks together, it makes this awesome zigzag pattern that runs all the way through the quilt with the center block that really pops. As always, I'm going to leave a PDF download in the description below. My name's Teancum, teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week here at Sew Yeah Quilting.